Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Lisa's Love and Light. Thank you all for being here today. Happy Monday. Monday is like, it's kind of hard because the weekend goes by so quickly. And just it just goes by so quick. And, you know, it's like it's already Monday, it's raining, but it's not hot, guys, right? So, anyway, thank you all for being here. Thank you all for the likes, subscribing to the channel, and the comments. I really appreciate you guys. That means that these messages are helping you. And thank you for that because as it helps you, it helps me as well. Um, because this is just like these trials and tribulations and everything. It's not a joke or a game. It's just, it really takes strength to get through all these things. And so I commend you guys for being here and showing up to the channel. And please share your comments, like what you want to hear, what you're getting out of these messages, and how these messages are resonating with you and helping you within your own personal situations. I know what I do here is speak from within. I talk about my own personal situations and what I've gone through and how I have overcame a lot of these things to be an overcomer, which is not easy because you have to be strong. You have to stay focused and keep going. I always reiterate, keep going, because if you give yourself a moment to stop, to procrastinate, then you may not get up again and keep moving. And it's important to keep moving because we're talking about mental and physical health. I know I talk about a lot of different, uh, like I have different titles here, but when you follow these messages, they all tie in with mental and physical health because everything that I discuss here affects our physical and mental health. And those are the priorities here because without that, we can't take care of ourselves or anything around us. So even though there's different topics and some are intense some days and other days they're not, um, all of these topics are surrounding our physical and mental health because without that, we can't do anything for ourselves or anybody else. So, um, before I get into any messages today, I hope you guys are doing well. One of the things I want to talk about before I get into the topic of discussion today is voting because we're coming up on a huge election, a very, very serious one and a very important one. And it's important, I want to take the time to encourage everyone to make sure that your voters registration is active and that you are ready to vote, whether you're going to vote by absent ballot or in person or otherwise. Just make sure everything is in order so that on, election day, nothing is missing and that you can move forward to vote. And please don't think that, oh, my vote's not going to count. Every vote counts. This is too important because many of us, are in a situation right now that we really need to focus on this because our freedoms and rights are in jeopardy. Little by little, our freedoms and things that we take for granted on a daily basis is in jeopardy. So we all need to come out and vote, young, middle age, older, senior, whatever. Make sure that you are have an active voters registration and that you make sure you vote in this upcoming election. You know, um, let's vote and leave the excuses behind because it's easy to get caught up in other things and procrastinate and etc. We don't want to wake up on the day after the election and then wish that we would have voted or etc. so forth. Let's make sure that we do vote in this election. And that's all I want to say about that, because I want to make sure that other people, people know that all the votes count, and that, we should be out there voting. With that being said, let's get into this topic of discussion today. Um, the topic is becoming a warrior to maintain your peace and tranquility. Tranquility. That's the title today, becoming a warrior to maintain your peace and tranquility. Because as you make a conscious decision to heal from the traumas of life, and grief, and things that happened to you when you were a child or younger, or whatever the situation that you have a hard time healing from, and you make a conscious decision that you want to heal these things so that you can be the best of yourself, you can take care of yourself and everything else around you. When you make that decision, never allow anything to cause you to fall back on it, to renege. We get up and some days we don't feel like doing certain things. That's understandable. We're all a human, but keep going. If, today you don't feel like doing something, then tomorrow make sure you're back on the wagon again. You can't give up on self investment, because that's so important. You might be a kind, generous, thoughtful person full of empathy and love. I have some notes here about this situation. Sometimes you also have to be courageous, a warrior of strength to maintain your peace and tranquility. And when I think about a warrior, I think about Samson and the Philistines. Because in life today, you know, have you guys noticed that things are just, like people are just far worse than they used to be back in the day? Like, people, especially dealing with narcissistic individuals, they don't care. They're out to get what they can get, and they will do whatever, whenever, however. They don't care about you or whatever, you know? So, it's so important that we are alert and see what's going on around us, and that we protect ourselves for anything that's going to take us off our path to heal, our pain, to heal our trauma and grief. A few others might be disturbed by your peace and tranquility, because they may not be on the same path that you are, and they may not have made the same decision to heal, toxicity, grief, etc. And that's okay, because we all have a choice in a matter. However, no one has a right to tell you that you can't heal things that have caused you great pain and have affected your physical and mental health. No one has a right to tell you you can't heal those things, because they don't want to see you grow and evolve. Because once you start to really make this decision and stick with it, it changes your life for the better. And sometimes people don't want to see you get better. People don't want to see you grow, evolve, and be the best version of yourself. Sometimes because they are not healing and they're not thinking about healing, they want you where they are. They want to keep you in a place of brokenness, busted, broken down, and disgusted. And you never can heal from those things. And this is why I talk about becoming a warrior when it comes to um, your self care, your physical and mental health. And what I had to do, and I always talk from my personal experiences, because I'm not a therapist or social worker of any sort. I'm just someone who went through a lot of hell and craziness and pain. And I talk about ways that I've gotten through it. And perhaps what I speak about here can resonate with someone who may be currently going through some of these things that I'm discussing here, whether it's today or from prior videos, etc. Because it's important that we take care of ourselves so that we can be better, you know. And some people could be disturbed, because as you take care of your physical and mental health, you start to love on yourself and self care, and it changes you for the better. And some people don't know how to relate to that. They might be disturbed and upset that you have grown and healed past hurts, and that you are unbothered by their tactics of toxicity to try to get your attention or disturb your peace. And I've had that situation where people from the past, because I was this type of person, I would keep giving chance after chance after chance. And each time I did, the toxic situations that I was dealing with would get worse and worse and worse because the parties involved was not healing the toxicity. They were just drawing me back into it, and I would be, because I'm a compassionate person, generous, etc. But there's nothing naive about me, and as I have grown, I see the toxicity as what it is, and I don't allow myself to be pulled back into it. And it doesn't matter how they feel, what they think. I don't care about it. And because I'm unbothered by it, sometimes they go to extremes, you know. And I refuse to allow myself to be drawn back into a space that caused me a lot of pain, because before I give up on anything, when it comes to toxicity and things like that, what I do is I sit and talk to people, set boundaries, and say, look, this is how this has to be because A, B, C, and D, and whatever the case might be, right? And if a person keep disrespecting those boundaries, then they're disrespecting me and my space and time to heal. And that's never okay, and that means they don't care about my healing. They don't care about my growth, my pain, none of it. When someone decides that they don't want to, that they're going to step over these boundaries that you set, then they're disrespecting you. And respect is a big thing to me. And sometimes when someone refuses to leave you alone, and they want to keep you in a place of toxicity, sometimes you must become a Samson in their life. You must protect your peace and tranquility at any time. And for me, that means having conversations, setting boundaries. And once a person decides to keep crossing over the boundaries, I cut off, block, and delete. And I don't unblock, I don't go back, because that means once I get to that point, I've already went through those other steps. And this is not a game, this is not a joke, and I'm very serious about investing in my physical and mental health. And I have to deal when I let some of these folks go from the past because they were in my life for so long, they didn't want to leave. So they resorted, some of them, to stalking, lying, and filing false reports with the police saying I've done things that I would never do and I've never done in my life. And this is not a game. This can get you locked up. Stalking somebody, filing false reports, and saying someone did something that they never did. Let me tell you what I do in those cases. I go into deep prayer meditation with God. And, I talk a lot about transmuting that negative energy and toxicity, because that's what it is, and giving it to God. And I tell you, as I learn to do that and have learned to do that, God has been coming through because it gets his attention. Look, I'm over here. I'm all the way over here, minding my business. I even took myself out of the area and vicinity of the toxicity. So I'm way over here. Now you're coming over here to try to disturb my peace and tranquility. What do you think is going to happen? And I'm not the same Lisa that I used to be. What do you think? You know, you can easily get yourself locked up for stalking somebody and bothering someone who doesn't want to be bothered anymore, and someone who has cut off, block, and delete, and you're still trying to disturb their peace. What do you think is going to happen? And trust me on this, you will get locked up, because bothering someone who is not bothering you, decided to go over here and heal themselves. And because you don't want to see them heal, you want them in a space of toxicity and they don't want to be there. And you keep doing this. What do you think is going to happen? It's not going to continue. I promise you it's not. And filing false reports on a person can get you locked up big time. you know it can get you arrested and locked up for a very long time. So people, think about what you're doing. Especially if you have evidence of a person doing this, report it and provide the evidence so that you can be at peace. Because let me tell you, I'm going to be at peace and not into pieces. And people don't have to like the new you, because as you start to grow and heal, you start to embrace life and see life differently, especially if you're going through what I've gone through, losing 10, 15 people. Just since I've been on here, somebody else that I knew passed away. So it makes you look at life differently, especially those of us who've lost parents, spouses and things, you look at life differently. And all these traumas and things that bring about grief and pain, you have to heal these things. And as you heal, and get better, you become a different person. You don't want a lot of drama and toxicity and negativity around you. Life is too short for this BS, and as you get older and you take care of yourself, you don't want to be around that. And if the people that were in your past is still in that energy, I leave them there. I don't judge. It's not up for me to judge anyone. None of us is. But I leave them where they are so that I can go over here and heal and stay in a place of healing and embrace life to the fullest. You have a right to heal. Never let anybody tell you guys that you don't have a right to heal. You do. No one has a right to play God in your life and tell you when to eat, when to get up, when to go to sleep, when to speak, when to shut up. Nobody has a right to do that. They want to play God in your life and try to control you, and no one has the right to do that. This is why I set boundaries, and if it continues, I cut off, block, and delete, and I keep it moving because I have no space in my life for the toxicity. And if anything is not for my highest good, I'm cutting it off. No one is going to tell me that I have to put up with toxicity and I have to have people in my life who are not for my highest good and who don't mean me any good. My approach is to cut off, block, and delete. File restraining orders if necessary. If people don't want to go, get out of your energy and they want that toxicity and drama and whatever else, restraining orders if necessary. And you can also sue people for following you and stalking you to see what you're doing, trying to find out who you're dating, what you're doing, following fake reports and trying to disturb your peace just because you cut them off. And because you're growing and you're doing better, they want to make it look like you're the toxic person. I've gone through all of that. And what I tell people, you will know the truth by the person who's doing all of this toxic stuff and a person who's in a corner healing. You will see the difference in the two lives, no matter what they're trying to do. Now, like I said, I'm very close to God and I stay in prayer and meditation a lot. And I give these things to God and he go to work. If you're a person who you don't like a lot of drama, toxicity and all that stuff, and you decided to be over here to heal and to take care of your physical and mental health, no one has a right to try to bully you and try to drag you into a place of toxicity, in a place that you don't want to be, because you're over here healing. And I take that very seriously. And I don't care about the gossip and what people saying, because I know that people will see, before you say, believe the lies that other people are telling, look at the life of the person that they're gossiping about and look at their life, and it will tell you what the truth is. And they would try, and I noticed that these people were trying hard to drag me into toxicity. But believe me, the police is already on top of this. I promise you, because I'm not going to allow anyone to disturb my peace and tranquility. I have done a lot of work to heal, especially after all these losses and things that's happened in my life. And honestly, people, I'm being honest about everything, but I don't want anybody back in my life that I've cut off. And the reason for that is that I have given chances. And before, it got to this point of cutting people off, And it doesn't matter, family, whoever. If it's not for my highest good and it's bringing toxicity in my life, I'm going to set boundaries, which I've done that a couple of times and they disrespected them. And I will reiterate them again and they disrespect them and then I cut them off. So there's no need to try to call me or talk or whatever because you're blocked and you're going to stay blocked. And, coming near me is not going to be an option either because, 911, because I'm very serious about my healing. And if you cut off, you already know the reason why. And anything else at that point would be harassment. And I'm not for that. The new Lisa I am today, the old Lisa would cry about it. The new Lisa, I will be a Samson, like the Philistines in your life coming to, bother me because it's harassment at this point. And when you get serious about healing your physical and mental health and you want to be at peace instead of in pieces, then you will do what needs to be done, to protect your peace and tranquility and not allow people to come and disturb your peace. And sometimes it means people get upset, they tell lies, they say all types of stuff because they want to get a rise out of you. And my silence speaks volumes because I have no time for the BS anymore. And and I'm talking to certain people who might be dealing with this, and one of the things I do is go into prayer with God and I talk to God about it and say this is what's happening, blah blah. And you're not doing the wrong things, that you're over here minding your business and someone trying to drag you into something that you don't belong into. Go into prayer and ask God to help you. And every step that you take and in reference to these things, to keep and maintain your peace, God is going to be right behind you taking 2 and 3 steps. And I promise you that, because that is my how do I say this? That has been my situation when dealing with God, and I sit and talk and talk to him about these things because I don't want these things in my life anymore. And some of these people want to keep a chokehold on me or keep me in a toxicity situation, and I just let it go. Give it to God. And when I do that, God does the rest. I take steps by cutting off, block, deleting, changing everything, so that I don't have to deal with these folks. And then if it continues, I transmute, give it to God, and God does the rest. Because I am serious about staying at peace instead of being in pieces. No one should be in a place of toxicity and negativity, especially if you don't want to be there. And, people can lie and say whatever. But what I will suggest to people, when you hear negative stuff and toxic stuff about other people, I don't believe anything that anybody tells me on a negative about people unless I research it or seen something, similar to what they were saying to me. Otherwise, I just take it with a grain of salt because, if that's the case, I have a Brooklyn Bridge to sell to you. Meet me at it. If you are that easy to believe whatever people tell you, because sometimes people are doing it because they've been cut off, because they are toxic and they refuse to grow and they want to continue to bring toxicity into somebody's life. So when a person cut them off, they get upset and then they want to, do something spiteful, and I just leave people where they are. I don't have time for it. Growth is important. Helping other people, because I've seen people in a place of not just being in grief, but being in despair because they have no support system. They have nowhere to turn. And this is why I always say invite other people to this channel, because a lot of people don't communicate what they're going through. They don't talk about their feelings. But if they show up here on this channel and I say something that I've gone through, that they may be currently going through it, they may hear something that might resonate with them and help them within their own situation. Paying it forward and helping other people is where I am now. It's important to do that because some people are suffering today and some people may not have a support system. They may just not have that. And I know what that's like, in the physical. But, share these messages, continue to do so, continue to show up here And be encouraged, be uplifted, because you don't have to go through these things alone. I made a vow to God that as he helped me, that I would help other people. Even just showing up here and talking about my own personal experiences and how I'm getting through these things and how I'm growing and evolving can help somebody else to do the same. Take little steps. And one of the things I want to suggest is therapy, because that's the first place that I started. Google a therapist, and talk to a few to see which one you might vibe with and be on the same page with, and then start there. And I promise you, as you continue to do that over and over, you start to put the pieces together, of how to do things creatively, things that uplift your spirit and make you feel good about yourself. And when you start to love on you, love yourself, you would never ever settle for anything that you don't deserve. You know your worth. And when you know your worth, there's nothing anybody else can tell you or bring toxicity to your life, because you know your worth and you love yourself. That's the message today, guys. Please share this video with others. I'll be back. I'm not sure tomorrow what time. I won't be on here earlier because I have an appointment in the morning, but I should be on tomorrow. And please share these messages. And thank you for being here and subscribing to the channel. Remember, you do matter just as much as the other people do. So let's continue to show up here. This is Lisa, always shedding love and light and encouraging you guys to be the best version of yourself possible. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great Monday. Bye for now.